Hello.
Hey everyone.
All right, we are going to talk about Mars. We're going to talk about the moon. We're going to talk about the moon covering Mars. It happens coming up soon. This is in a few days' time. There will be a moment when Mars actually takes a back seat. It's not going to be a big window, but we are going to give you the dates and the degrees to go over that. We're also going to talk about Mars being on the world axis. We know that there was a time where we had Mars conjunct Galactic Center, and it was literally sitting like holding hands with the galactic center on the left and holding hands with the world axis on the right. So we're going to give you more dates and degrees, and more specifically so that when you look at your chart, you know if you have points that are squaring these very powerful cosmic energies. So let's dip into the all astrology now. First of all, we're going to talk about the world axis because I think it's new information.
The world axis is actually a really important point because it is the beginning of all of what are known as the cardinal signs. The 4 cardinal signs are
Cancer, Capricorn, Aries,
and Libra. Okay, these energies are forward-moving energies. These 4 signs are energies that are jumping off points. They're points where we move forward. They are high energy, if you think about it. So Aries is forward moving about self. It's about what I want, what I need for myself.
And taking action.
Initiating it in that regard. Cancer is about family. It's about emotion. It's about moving forward in those regards and in moving forward in your home. Libra is about moving forward in relationships, about setting up relationships, creating new relationships. And Capricorn is about the outer world, setting up new structures, setting up new companies, setting up new things that you're doing out in the world.
Your goals, your ambitions, and taking action.
Right. So that's, and all of the 4 energies that come before those 4 signs are all mutable. So the last 2 degrees before those 4 signs are all going to be transitioning directly into those cardinal energies exactly. So they literally mutate into that cardinal energy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so the mutable signs basically help you prepare because you become more flexible.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I was doing that, but now like, I want to go and do that.
Right.
So what do I got to do to be able to do that? And so there's that whole in-between phase, and that's the mutable phase. And then we hit cardinal energy, and we're like, bam.
Right.
You take off.
And for the world axis, we allow a 2-degree orb. So 28 degrees before the cardinal energy, and then 2 degrees into the cardinal energy.
So the world axis, then, what you're saying, the literal degree of the world axis is going to be at the 2-degree mark, 0 degrees. Did I just say the 2-degree mark?
You said 2 degrees.
The 0-degree mark. I know, I got 2's up. The 0-degree mark of cardinal signs.
So 2 degrees either side of 0 degrees.
So plus or minus 2 degrees.
Right. So what we are talking about is from 28 degrees of Pisces to 2 degrees of Aries.
Okay.
We're talking about 28 degrees of Gemini to 2 degrees of Cancer.
Okay.
28 degrees of Virgo to 2 degrees of Libra.
Okay.
28 degrees of Sagittarius to 2 degrees of Capricorn.
Okay, so tell me why does this matter?
Well, this matters because these are points where we jump off and we start to take action. We've been mulling back and forth about what do I do? So now we're like taking that ready. What do I do energy, and we're like, okay, now I need to move forward.
So it's called the world axis. All right, so I guess in my mind, I'm thinking, is this a help? Like, is this a cosmic help? Is this a cosmic point where we're literally, we're feeling, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, that was a cat that just disappeared. So he's just, like, we're at the 16th of February. Mars is at 0 degrees Capricorn. Right. So it is, and it's out of bounds right now.
Right, and when Mars is out of bounds, this is really super extreme, intense. Mars rules Aries, which is a forward-moving, it's physical, it's the body, it's how I move forward. So you take that, you move it out of bounds, which is it's out of control. It makes it more extreme.
Less predictable.
You put it at the world axis, so it's going to be even heightened.
And the galactic center.
And the galactic center. So it's getting information then from the galactic center, which is the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
So the world axis point too, then, another astrologers say that if it's a world axis point, it typically means it's going to be done on a worldly scale.
Right.
Meaning it's not just something you're going to do and only you are going to know about it, but, well,
these are going to be
whatever the
things that are
big
going to
scale
be
of your life is, you know?
Yeah.
So it's definitely not a very private thing. This is something everybody you know is going to know about it when you take action with this thing.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's why it's called the world axis. It's on the world scale in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So some astrologers believe if you have a significant planet or an angle, significant point at that spot, at those literally 4 spots, right?
Yeah.
That's what it comes to, because it, like, we'll give you an example to try and clear this up. There's a chart I'm looking at, and they have their Pluto at 29 degrees. Okay, so if they have their Pluto at 29 degrees in Virgo, I'm sorry, I didn't say in Virgo, mutable energy.
Which is a world axis point, because 0 degrees of Libra is a world axis point.
Gotcha.
So it's within...
So between 28 degrees of that Virgo and 2 degrees of Libra means that 29 degree Pluto this person has natally is on a world access point. And so there's the multiple world access points that you already described and already said, and all the degrees. Okay, so that's fascinating. Now, the other thing that I wanted to kind of just touch on real quick is because of Mars being out of bounds and sitting on the world axis, the cardinal world access point, realizing that that beam of energy where Mars is, sitting between these two gigantic. So we've got Mars, world axis, out of bounds.
And that's axis, A-X-I-S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not A-C-C-S-S. Yeah. Yeah. Axis. So at the opposite end of that is the Cancer energy.
Right.
The 0 degrees Cancer energy.
Which is emotion.
And it's also an eclipse point.
Yeah.
It's an eclipse point. So basically you would want to look at your chart and see if you have anything. If you have never, if you don't have your chart in front of you, if you don't know those things, just comment your digits below and I'll hook you up. All right. Take a look and I'll comment back for you and I'll help you to better understand what's going on and if you have some relevant planets there. The other thing you'd want to know is what's going to square, right? So typically, this is the part that's not really mind-boggling, but blowing my mind away as I'm like sharing this right now. Cardinal squares cardinal.
Right.
So this Mars at this degree now means if anybody, like this person who's got a 29 degree Pluto, that's literally squaring up right now to this Mars on the world axis point. And this Mars being out of bounds.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we need now next is a date. When is Mars going to pull away from the world axis?
It pulls away from the world axis point the 20th to the 21st of February. So this tension, this frustration, this irritation, this anger and that everybody has been talking about and feeling
less patient,
and everybody's been feeling
some
less
people
patient.
talk about feeling dark energy.
Yeah,
I've heard people, I've read lots of comments
a lot
about
of people that are highly sensitive have been feeling this. This is going to begin to lessen 20th, 21st.
But then Mars is still out of bounds.
Mars will still be out of bounds, so it's still going to be engaged in some of that energy. And that's not really going to be completely gone from us until about the 3rd of March. Just be aware of that. But there will be a lessening of it, so it won't be quite as intense. I've been really combative the last
we've had quite a few comments from folks where they are asking, what is exactly going on? Can you explain this?
Yeah.
Whether it's feelings within themselves that they've noticed, very argumentative, anger. I've seen people are saying anger.
Yeah.
And so
I've been really pissy. Basically,
the world access point, these 0 degrees cardinal points, intensify energy automatically. They're they're extreme points in general.
They are very
And it's kind of, the best way I can kind of try to describe or understand it for me is when I think of when that full moon time comes and there's this extra energy we have and it's like this, you just feel
the
it.
Intensified energy that happens with the full moon. Especially certain full moons when they happen close to points or planets within your chart. When they hit those points or planets within your chart, you feel the agitation build, or you feel the emotion build, or you feel certain things build within yourself, and you're like, what the heck is going on? The last 3 days, the cats have just been absolutely bonko.
Yeah, today they're actually a little bit better.
Calmer today because
last 2 days have been off the wall.
Mars actually moved into 0 degrees today. The last 2-3 days when Mars was in the 28-29 degree range,
Yes.
they were really beating up on each other.
Very combative, very combative.
They're a really good gauge for us because they just react.
Okay, so then what we're going to do now is next step into a reading. This is the second time we're doing this, by the way.
Yeah.
Mercury is no friend of me right now because it's in my 11th house. And so electronics are going all crazy. And it hasn't even gone backwards yet.
Yep.
And so this is going to be for a Leo ascendant, Leo rising.
So if you have a Leo ascendant that's somewhere around the middle.
Well, we can give the degrees for this person.
This is
1840.
This is 1840.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of things that you might actually be able to relate to.
The timing of a lot of this stuff.
Is going to be pretty similar because a lot of the things,
especially the major planets.
Yeah.
All the slow planets will definitely apply.
Yeah.
So, you know, your Jupiter, your Neptune, your Saturn, your Pluto, your Uranus, these are all going to be relevant. And this is a big deal for Leo ascendants. If you have a Leo sun, like when we talk about Uranus and stuff, like Uranus squares Leo energy right now. Uranus is in Taurus. You know, so fixed squares fixed. So a person has a moon in Cancer,
Virgo,
sun at 20 degrees.
At 20 degrees.
At 20 degrees. So if you have any of these matching sun, moon, or ascendants, you can follow along because we're going to give a nice little outlook.
So the birth date on this is September 14th, 1971 in Levittown, Pennsylvania at 4 a.m.
First most prominent thing we do have to discuss is your moon in Cancer. And there's a lot of really independent markers in the chart where family and heritage, lineage, this whole family cycle, it runs deep and it goes back many generations, let alone lifetimes, right? Lifetimes. And so we really wanted to talk about that because it keeps coming up in this chart. There's this constant theme of self and family, and that whole balance act.
Yeah, because your Cancer moon is also in your 12th house. And that is significant, having your Cancer moon in your 12th house. That means that your emotional life and the way that you react to things emotionally are somewhat hidden from you. You're not always completely aware of the way that you react to things. And this is really important to mention.
I know you need those papers, I'm sorry.
Your child also has a Cancer moon at almost the exact same degree. Your Cancer moon is at 2150 in Cancer. Your child is at 2213. They're almost exactly together. And they're both in the 12th house. And you have almost identical rising signs. Yours is at 1840 in Leo. Your child is at 1513.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities that match up where there's bonds that almost can't be broken, right?
Yeah.
Bonds that just can't be broken. And so to separate in any degree, in any level, right, would be difficult, would cause conflict in some way, especially emotional conflict. And the whole point of talking about the moon being in the 12th house is because the moon, first of all, is our subconscious. The 12th house is also the subconscious, right? The moon is subconscious because of the fact that it's our past. 12th house subconscious, not just past, but past lives past. Okay, and so it's this, how can I handle something? How can I deal with something if I'm not aware of it, right? How can I recognize this if I can't see it, if I'm not aware of it? So this is what this is.
The two of you have been through multiple lives together. The two of you have been a help to each other through so many different circumstances and so many different lifetimes together.
Yeah.
You are so bonded and so close that the thought of trying to navigate a lifetime together without each other would probably be very difficult. But there are some things that the two of you need to do within this lifetime in order for both of you to grow.
Yeah, ultimately every lifetime comes down to the soul's growth. The main theme of your chart, and we're going to dip into it much deeper later on in the reading, is the ability to find your independent path and to value it and to discover your unique self in a way where you're joyful, where you're happy, where you're excited, regardless of whoever is or isn't in that picture. It's discovering that for you.
It's really important to understand that while you're always going to be mom, you have to stop being mother. It's great to always be mom. Mom is always going to be there. Mom is always going to be the person that your child reaches out to and looks forward to and
wants to make you proud. And how can a child do that?
But
they've got to make their own way.
Everything that we looked at says you need to stop mothering. So that's an overarching look at some of the energy. So where we want to start is on the 23rd
of February.
This
is a new moon energy, which is super supportive. Loving this new moon.
What's interesting about your chart is that the way the setup is that every time there's a difficulty that comes up, you have supportive energy that exists at the same time. So you have a difficulty, but you have support. You have a difficulty and you have support. So you're
jumping out of the plane, but you've got a parachute and it works.
Yeah. Never in a situation where you don't have some kind of supportive network behind you. So in that way,
energetically you do.
Energetically, you always have something supportive that is following right behind or following right at the same time as anything that is of a difficulty. So you're very fortunate in that way.
Your new moon energy happens in your 7th house. Okay, so this is significant one-on-one relationships. And significant one-on-one relationships can be any person in your life that you are very close to, any person you're willing to compromise with, that you value the relationship in such a way where you're like, okay, I got to meet them halfway. Because I value them and I don't want them to not be in my life. And having the new moon there gives you support for going forward. You're getting support at this time. Actually, it's coming from areas, it's the Capricorn energy. We've got Mars, which is setting a beautiful sextile over. So this could be career, this could be profession, this could be somehow governmental support, this could be your goals in life. Artistic goals. Don't know if you have artistic goals or not, or how creative you may or may not be, but it's support coming from the 5th house. And this is also the house of our children. And again, creative projects can be children, literally, right?
Yeah,
as well as our physical children.
Physically create them.
Yes, it could be having a good time, having fun. It's an organized sport even, actually, because it's the 5th house, and that is also about sports, and Capricorn energy is all about organized, but having a goal and climbing and just keep working at it.
What we're really seeing is that if you've been struggling through some things over the last several months, is we're really beginning to see sort of an easing of those difficulties that you've been dealing with.
Coming,
There's a turnaround coming for you. Now, that doesn't mean that all the difficulties are going to go away. It just means that you're going to have a lot more support that's coming with those difficulties. So just after the middle of February, well, we're just past the middle of February, so you're really going to be moving forward in a really positive way. That's going to really add some ease, especially in the way that you're working and in the way that your life is working. So these difficulties that you've had, that you've just gotten past, you might have some bumps in the road, but you're really going to have some really good positive support that's going to be backing you up.
And that's one of the things I wanted to mention. You don't have we see lots of charts where some folks have like multiple layered grand trines and stuff. And so we've always said that these grand trines are typically like a setup. Because if stuff always is just handed to somebody, if it just always works
easy,
and they never have to work at something, all of a sudden, when they do have to work at something, it seems daunting. It seems very difficult and complicated.
Devastating to them. They don't know how to get through it.
And so I'm bringing that up because you have a lot of strategic points in your chart. She kind of touched on it already, where you have help. And this might be part of that, understanding part of that although you have been through some extreme difficulties, some of the other difficulties might not be as hard as they appear to be, okay? Only because some of the other stuff just happens and it flows, it's easy, and it just falls into place effortlessly. But that doesn't happen for all of us normally. I just want you to know, like, I see some of these things in your chart and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
nice.
We see
Like,
these.
wow.
We're like, oh wait, there's something difficult coming up. Oh, wait a minute, no, she's got this thing that's gonna work it out.
Yeah, and you're just like you're all good. But mentally and emotionally and psychologically, when we think about ourselves and our awareness of why does that seem so hard to me, and then you see others who have seemingly unbelievably hard things that are going on in their life, but somehow they don't act like it's hard. You know what I mean? Like they just do it, they plow through it, right? But then other people, some things come along, it may not seem that hard, but for them, it kind of like really knocks them out. Like they're worn out by it, you know?
Because their lives are so easy that they don't know how to deal with difficulty.
It's a possibility. All right, so I just wanted you to understand the psychology around it.
One of the things is that if you've been feeling a bit brain fogged, once you get to the beginning of March, please know you are not the only one. Everybody's going to be feeling a bit brain fogged.
Well, the retrograde begins on the 17th. It begins in a couple days, actually. And so
and everybody's going to feel a bit brain fogged.
That's how we think. Mercury represents our thinking, our communication, and so when it gets into this water, it slows down, and then it moves backwards. So for you, this happens, it actually goes from your 8th house, which is your intimate, bonded, one-on-one relationships, okay? People we're really, really close to. And then it backs up. And it actually stays in your 7th house at that point. And then it goes forward again eventually. And that won't be, until March
9th.
March 9th. So by then it'll be back moving forward. But in the meantime, having it in your 7th house is where the communication problems might begin.
Yeah, you might find that in your closest relationships that the ability to communicate clearly is going to be really difficult for about 3 weeks.
And it could be in areas of communications like as in technology. And I'm telling everyone that because that's what Mercury rules. Electricity, devices, internet, social media, that is all under Mercury's domain. So if you get a text and it's weird, or if you see a comment and it's like a little off and it feels offensive, maybe even just recognize there's a little twisting going on.
Yeah.
It's a very real thing. It happens. Somebody says, oh, but I asked you this. I sent you a text. Well, I never got it. It's a possibility they didn't get it, for real.
It really is.
Emails getting just,
Emails will get lost. Texts
just expect
will get
that
lost.
and not to be offended during this time.
There's going to be miscommunication. There's going to be misunderstanding in communication. People are going to say things backwards for the next several weeks.
This would definitely square up with stuff at home and in the career.
Yeah.
All right, because this literally squares your home world. That's where your IC is at 10 degrees and your midheaven's at 10 degrees. And that's where the retrograde is.
This is really going to mess with your relationships with people at work and your relationships with people at home. So,
authority figures. If somebody of authority speaks to you and you're like,
what did that mean?
Right. What did that mean? Or you get a letter in the mail, or you get a phone call, you get an email, something, whether, authority figure can be anybody. Just take it slow.
Try not to
ask
go off the handle.
Ask questions to clarify. This is the best thing to do during a Mercury retrograde.
Especially when it's in Pisces.
Yes. Get clarity.
So that clarity will come after the 9th. Things will start to clear up. Things will get less muddied. 9th of March. On top of that craziness.
Which we are all going through. It's not just you specifically.
It's not just you.
Everybody listening, everybody out there, you've got this somewhere in your chart. We all have it.
You're also going to have a time right around the 7th to the 11th when you're going to feel very emotional.
Yeah, there's actually, separate videos for that. But it's a time of feeling others' emotions and feeling in heightened emotions, self-emotions. So it's
because of where everything's going to be sitting.
Yeah.
Take
this will be in areas of your life pertaining to what you value and shared resources. This is your 2nd and your 8th house.
Yeah.
All right. This is where we're having a full moon occur and when we're having this Neptune conjunct the sun occur. So this is your 2nd and your 8th house. Those are what is mine? What do I value? Okay. And then the other opposing, the Neptune thing, that's in the 8th, which is this is ours. We share this, right? So if you live with somebody, that would be that, right? You share. It's where you merge your energy with somebody else. So it could be people that you are just very bonded with as well.
Take a step back. Take a breath. Tread carefully.
Wait till the 11th, after the 11th.
Once we get to the 17th, you're going to be facing is an inability to be rational and logical.
Great.
So
St. Patty's Day. I don't know if you're Irish or not, but if that's the case.
March is going to be kind of a tough row to hoe for you.
Okay, so we're at March 17th.
And during
2020?
this time, yeah, your ability to stay logical, your ability to stay rational is going to be a little blocked. Where Mars is going to be sitting is going to be going into an area of your life that is somewhat emotional, and so that's it's going to be directly across from your moon in your chart, and so that's going to be opening
That's
up.
the trigger, yeah.
That's your trigger for you.
Again, you have a backup. You have a backup because this trines your sun in Virgo at 20 degrees. Mm-hmm. Right, so that means Mars is going to be at 20 degrees Capricorn, sending a sweet trine to Virgo at 20 degrees, and that's in your second house. Virgo is logical, rational, right? Can think things through, can look at the
Mars
details.
is going to be across from the moon,
Right.
which is going to
Emotions.
be emotion. Probably going to find some balance there. You might have a knee-jerk emotional reaction for a few days, but you'll be like, now why did I do that?
And this is also Mars just entering your sixth house at this time as well. So that is significant because it moves from being in the fifth house of fun, and being creative, taking risks, laughter, having a good time, and then swings into, okay, it's time to work. It's
and
time
be
to,
more serious.
Yes, definitely takes on a more serious tone here.
Right.
That's a good point. Because the sixth house is health as well.
Right.
It's our health. It's also our pets, if you have pets at home, right? Mm-hmm. It's that as well. But it's how we serve those we care about. And so at the time when Mars comes along, Mars adds to the vitality of that. It's like, okay, we're going to start doing this. This is how I can help this person, okay?
Right.
So there's a caution with this, which is don't overdo it.
Yeah. The big caution is that after March 17th is don't work too hard.
Yeah, be aware.
Don't do too much. Don't overdo yourself. Don't overstrain yourself. Because you have a tendency to do this anyway because you've got Mars in that part of your life anyway. You have Mars in that house. So you have a tendency to push yourself, and do too much anyway. So be aware of that.
And you would have definitely done this around the beginning of March too. I know we kind of already talked about March, but there's this whole Mars trines her midheaven, trines Uranus.
Yeah.
All this is happening in this person's chart. And your midheaven, when Mars, it's a trine, first of all, so that's a nice thing. It adds ease. So it makes it easier for you to do more. Because you have stronger assertions about you.
Right.
And it's almost as though you will do anything to achieve your goal at this time. You kind of just want to be aware of that. You don't want to sacrifice too much of yourself. You got to kind of realize, okay, is it worth this?
Right.
There's that
now,
thing going on.
And here's why. We do have a word of caution that comes up around March 23rd. If during this time you feel something physically wrong, medically, please go get it checked out now. Because it may come back in about a year or so of 2021. This is a really good time to go get a checkup
And you
get
might,
it checked out.
because Mars represents our physical body, right? And it's going through your house of health. And Mars also brings with it, it's considered a malefic planet. So typically the planet Mars can bring on cuts and fevers and inflammation. That's just Mars by nature, all right?
And when it enters into that house, it's going to be in the sign that rules bones and body structure. Mm-hmm. So something adverse is going to happen. You may fall and you might bruise a bone. You might break a small bone. You might do something to your physical structure. And while it's in there, it's going to go into the sign that rules your nervous system. So you might, things like ringing in your ears. You might feel like your nervous system is on 10 or a little frazzled. Your nerves might feel like they're on end.
The whole breaking of the bones part, this isn't to say on this date at this time this is what's going to happen. This is more about because Mars pushes you so hard, because you have the drive to get so much done. We sometimes tend to be careless. Right? We don't slow down. We act faster, right? We leap before we look. And if there's any accidents or anything at all, it's because of something like that. It's a short-sightedness.
It happened to me when we were painting this living room and I wasn't paying attention. And when Mars was badly aspecting something in my chart, I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to put the curtains back up, fell off of the ladder, broke a bone in my foot.
Yeah, it's all about projects because this is the sixth house. projects. And it's like, all those projects we were talking about? This
Right.
is a good time to do it. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what happened to me. Now, on March 24th, we actually have a new moon.
4 degrees of Aries, new moon. That's your one-on-one relationships. And whenever we talk about a new moon energy, it's a good time to set intentions.
And so this is a really good time for you to set new intentions about those close bonded relationships that you have in your life.
And new ones. It's
And
in
setting
Aries.
new relationships.
Yes, new relationships. Doesn't have to be, I've seen lots of folks' charts where they have significant energy in their 8th house, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's someone that they're sexual with or someone that they, are married to or partners with. It could be best friends. I've seen it where I've seen grandparents and grandchildren where their grandchildren are in their 8th house, stuff like that. So it can be any being that you bond with deeply,
Right.
all right?
And what we were looking at was that because of what we know that you've been through not all that long ago, this might be a good time to make some new friendships, to look outside of your typical social groups that you've had and have, because you probably have, we get the feeling you have very strong bonds to the people that you work with. Good time
Well, it's a love or hate relationship. Some you love, some you hate.
It might be a good time to go outside of that, to maybe look for a self-help group, a group that you can sit down and talk to about your loss that you've suffered. Find a good one. Find one that you can walk out the door and say, yeah, I cried about it. I was upset about it, but I feel better about it.
Yeah, that's key. Feeling better after you leave.
Feeling better
not
after you
worse.
leave. Maybe not right away as you're walking out the door, but maybe within an hour or two that you feel better about some of the things that you heard, that you had a chance to really talk through some of it, so that you're not just rehashing the same thing over and over again with the same people. And so you need to be in a place where other people have been through the same experience, that you can talk through these things. We get the feeling that you're going to develop a new friendship, a new long-term friendship, a new close bonded friendship out of a group of people that you're going to meet through this kind of experience. And it would be really good for you to have that.
Yeah, I also want to add to this new moon intention for you that because it's in Aries, it's also going to be about you discovering this new degree of yourself and realizing there's a part of you that you really like, that you really enjoy. And so in a way, one of those new friends is yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
That's part of the theme of this chart. All right. And so this is going to be important moving forward. We're going to go a little bit deeper into that because you are going to be experiencing a Chiron return. And a Chiron return is a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about self because yours is in Aries. And are we even
It's
there yet?
about
Because we don't have to talk about that until we
self-discovery.
get there.
We haven't even gotten
All right.
to that
Well,
yet.
we'll go deeper into that in a little bit.
The other thing that we've noticed is that you're going to have some ease in your finances coming up.
Yeah. Love seeing this in a chart. A win for you is a win for all of us, baby.
March 26th, what we're seeing is some kind of major financial ease is going to be coming up. We have this really nice aspect for you.
Okay,
that
so we've
shows
got
up.
Mars conjunct Jupiter, and then we've got Jupiter just about getting closer to Pluto around this time.
Yeah.
And
And
so
Venus
this
is out of bounds.
Yeah, and Venus is in Taurus at this time. So this is nice.
Yeah, Venus is in Taurus and
This is
out
nice.
of bounds.
This is her ruler. And right. So it adds to more, right? When it's out of bounds. And what is Venus about? It's about my values.
What I
It's about
value.
money.
It's about money.
My resources. So there could be surprises.
Yep.
And let me pull up, so we're saying March 26th-ish,
Yep.
and let me get the degrees for folks listening. For everybody, these are the transits, first of all, which means
Mars
current
is going to be at
locations.
26 of Capricorn.
Mars and Venus are coming upon a nice trine.
Yep.
And this is also going to include Pluto, all right?
And it includes Jupiter
Yeah, Jupiter, which is 23 degrees
of Capricorn.
of Capricorn.
And Venus will be at 21. This is on the 26th. So
Pluto's at
Venus is going to
24.
move faster than Jupiter. It's
Right.
going to move faster
Than Mars.
Saturn. It's going to move faster than Mars. It's going to move faster than all of those things. You know, we're going to have these really nice hits of these energies that are coming up, and these are trines, which are
Yes.
positive.
And for you, this is a huge deal because it's a grand Earth trine. It's not just trine, right? It's the Capricorn and the Taurus energy, but natally in your chart, You have a 20-degree sun in Virgo. You have a 25-degree Venus in Virgo and a 29-degree Pluto in Virgo. So every time Venus up there at 20 degrees is moving, she's also trining up with all the Capricorn planets that we have in that last decan. All those planets, I know that was a cat back there somewhere. We just listed all these 21, 23, 24, 29. Yeah, 29, all this in Capricorn. So you have a sweet Earth trine. So this looks like it's in your house of money. It's in the second house of your resources. That's where your Virgo energy is. And then your Capricorn energy is in your sixth house of work. And, well, it's in Capricorn, which is work, profession, goals. Okay, this is also health, things that would be beneficial. Trines means adds ease.
Right.
Okay, so it's adding ease to work. It's adding ease to your projects, to pets, to health. Okay, and your midheaven, right? Your Taurus energy's up there at the top.
Which is how we are seen out in the world. It's how we are in our occupation, how we
express our best. That's our 10th house.
It's how we express our best.
We've talked about the 10th house because a lot of folks are like, well, this energy is up at my 10th house, the midheaven, but that's not what I do for a living. You know what I mean? That happens a lot. And a lot of times, because we've discussed it, trying to figure out our own midheavens, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. This is my job. It's not my job, right? And but the reality is that midheaven and that energy, the sign that's there at the midheaven, that's what you want to really look at. Really investigate that sign. Do research on that sign, and you're going to understand that this is almost, I just realized this the other day, the fourth house is what we feel, the opposite of the midheaven, right?
Right.
The 10th house, that midheaven, it's what you know, right?
Yeah.
You know it. Because the 9th house is what I believe. You know, the 10th house is what I know.
You know.
You came in with this knowledge. That's why that's
what you
up there.
Inherently know.
Yes, it's innately. You've got this in you. So having Taurus there, well, Taurus rules food. It rules speech. Okay? It's about money, my resources, what I value. It's the earth. It's extremely earthy energy. Also rules all the senses, you know, smell, taste. Right? That's why food's a big deal there. So there's a whole lot of Taurus stuff up there in your midheaven. And Venus rules it. And that's where Venus is at this time at 20, 21, 22, 23 degrees. So I hope this better helps you to understand. I want to hear back from you, like, what this was. Because this could be a promotion. This could be advancements. This could be a new position altogether.
Yeah.
It's somehow there's a definite financial ease that's coming around this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so whether it's
Something,
a check from the government, whether it's an
some
income
way.
tax return, there's definitely, but I feel like it could be multiple little things because you have so many planets. You know, she's got the sun, she's got Venus, she's got Pluto. So it's something that's going to be transformational.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a very big deal. You have Pluto trining Pluto.
Right.
You know, you've got Saturn trining Pluto. You've got Jupiter trining. Like, it's all going to happen.
Mars.
This is definitely a very big year. Major changes.
Yeah.
Lots of
a
new
lot of
beginnings.
major changes. So whatever financial windfalls you get, hang on to that money.
Right.
Come April and May, there's going to be this desire to go,
Spend.
I want to spend.
Right.
Don't do it.
Yeah, we're saying there might be some unexpected expenses.
Okay? Don't do it. The other thing that we want you to watch out for, and this is going to be especially true around the middle of April, is watch how willful you are at work. Watch your ego.
April 18th,
Yeah.
16th, 17th, 18th, 19th.
Yep.
You have a Mars return.
Yeah.
This Mars return is happening.
In her sixth house.
What's the
Which
degrees
is
on this?
your day-to-day work.
Folks, I don't have the transit. Hold on. Let me pull that up.
On your day-to-day work, what you do one day in and day out.
Mars will be at 12 degrees Aquarius.
On April 18th.
2 days, a few days before, actually, because once it's within that 2-degree orb, once Mars hits 10 degrees, you're going to feel this. It is definitely this. It's your physical strength
So
and your
you're
project's
gonna,
energy, like
the 14th to the 22nd.
about a week.
Okay, you're going to be pretty willful. You're going to be like,
Challenging authority figures.
you're going to be like,
Be very
going, your
careful.
boss is going to tell
You're
you
not
to
gonna
do
win.
something. You're going to be like, no, that's not how it should be done. It should be done this way. This is the way I'm going to do it. I want to do it this way. Just stay quiet and do it the way work wants you to do it. And
Yeah, anybody in authority, okay.
yeah.
Because authority can be, well, anybody that's someone that has somehow authority over you. You know? I tell
This is
people all the
gonna
time, if you get
pass.
pulled over by a cop,
Just
That's an
say-
authority figure.
Just say,
Yes, sir.
okay. Yes, sir.
Play dumb, start crying, do whatever you got to do. Like, I'm just saying.
Just smile and nod.
Yeah. Like,
I have to do it all the time with my manager because she's passive aggressive, and I just have to smile and nod. So, just be aware that this is going to happen, and it's going to be an issue for you. Okay. During May, what we really want you to look at is, what are my goals? What are my goals? What do I want to accomplish?
So this begins your Chiron return. Chiron is all about you. Nobody else, just you.
Just you.
It does involve your deepest pain, your darkest hurt.
Wounds.
Yes. And this all has to do with your belief systems around this, and somehow it involves yourself. That's what's coming through. It's your thoughts and your beliefs about yourself are contributing to this wound.
Right.
Okay?
Whatever it was that you suffered, either as a child, probably,
Or past life.
or in a past life, based on what I'm looking at in your chart, there was something very significant that you went through as a child, and then also as a young adult.
Definitely affected the thinking.
And some of it might have gotten very muddied, and you need to stop and think about it and really process it. And one of the things that I think we agree that you might want to start to write down and journal and think about what happened.
Come here, Mufasa.
In particular, in this life. It can be really difficult to think about those things from the past life. Those get taken care of in our dream world. But the things from this life, it might be good to do an exercise that I had somebody ask me to do. She said, take and write down for 20 minutes, set a timer, write down everything that you can remember from the first 5 years of your life. Set a timer. Write it down quickly. And I did that. She goes, okay, set a timer and write down everything that you can remember from the next 3 years. And she had me do this in 20-minute increments. And then I was given questions. I went back through, and I had to say, okay, what was most significant about these events? And I had to really think about and write more about those significant events and why they were so significant. So you might want to try and think about doing those kinds of journaling exercises. And that will begin to help you to get rid of the fog and the illusion or the delusion around the events that happened, and help you to begin to sort through. Because this is the next few years of your life are going to be an important time for you to sort through that information for yourself.
Okay, so that's where it also ties into when we were talking about self-help groups and getting help with it, whatever that may be. We all have issues. We all have Chiron in our chart somewhere. So we all have our deepest emotional wound that's buried, our greatest hurt. And sometimes we need help to get through that. And so whatever that is for you, right? Everybody's method, their modality of how they deal with that and how they get help, whatever works best. All right. And so this kind of leans into that, because this is the foundation. This is the beginning. All right. I want to talk a little bit more about the past lives where you were the spouse, and whether it was male or female, you were the spouse that was super supportive. You learned how to sacrifice for the other. Okay. Without a shadow of a doubt. Right? You're very comfortable taking a back seat. But what happens is, from being able to do that lifetime after lifetime, you mastered it. So when you've mastered something, it feels very natural. It feels like not a big deal. But in essence, in this lifetime, your job is to not allow that any longer. Your job is to develop a real sense of who you are, and to step out, well, basically to have another birthday of, okay, this is me. This is this other degree of me that I wasn't really aware of before, and guess what? Comfortable in this new skin. And so this should be it's not just a self-awareness, but it's so individualistic, it's so unique to you, but it's vital, because it's going to help you to move forward and have an independent life where you'll be happy, where you will be full, where you will be emotionally satisfied, because of the things that you do that depend on nobody else. Whether you're doing a thing alone or whether someone's doing it with you won't matter. This thing is special and unique for you. All right. And it has to do with higher learning and education. It has to do with traveling, foreigners, long distance journeys, okay, religion, philosophy, right? It's all these higher learning things. So I would encourage you to find out what that special little thing is going to be for you and how you can dive deep into it and explore this new degree of your being.
One of the things that we were thinking about for you is to start to think about how you can care for and nurture something outside of you and outside of your family situation, an animal, plants, gardening.
Right, because their mother instinct is so strong. The moon
You
thing.
have
Yeah.
such a strong
Yes,
mother
that's a good point.
instinct. You need to start to nurture something else. So nurturing plants would be really great because that's something that you can nurture and you can take care of, and then they give back in such a wonderful way without really asking a whole lot. Plants just give so much joy.
Make sure that when you do this nurturing that you are included in that. That's a big part of what happens with our Chiron return. We learn about how to value ourselves and how to give ourselves what we need instead of trying to get it from others.
Right.
Because when you can present yourself as an individual who is self-sufficient, mentally, emotionally, right? You're a very powerful being at that point.
Right.
Okay. And so make sure
Yeah.
you're part of that
You
picture.
really, this life for you is so much about learning how to nurture you and to value you within every situation that you're in. So moving forward, we wanted to mention in June, that's really where this Chiron return hits, is in June, and it's all about these beliefs about yourself. But that's not the only thing that's going to be really becoming significant in June. We're going to have another Mercury retrograde in June. Your thought processes, again, might get a little muddied and a little confused, but what's really going to be difficult for you is that this is going to happen right on top of your moon. So it might get emotional.
Emotional about family, about home, about your tribe, about mom, about being a mom. This would include children.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it might get
it's not
emotional about your mother
Right.
and about your maternal line.
Right.
And what all of that means, and about what it's meant to be a mother, and what it and how you define all of that as a mom.
I want to give you a heads up around June 8th. This is a time, this Mercury thing, okay, it exactly is going to square your Chiron. Okay, remember I mentioned you have a Chiron in Aries at 12 degrees. The Mercury is in Cancer at this time, around 10, 11 degrees. This will exactly square that Chiron energy. Now remember, Chiron is self. Remember what we talked, the whole lecture we gave, that hot talk we just talked about, discovering who you are, this new sense of yourself, and nurturing you. This tension, this stress, that's what a square means by Mercury, means your thoughts are going to challenge everything we just told you, right? You're going to feel discouraged. You're going to feel like, but this doesn't feel right. My mind, my part of it, conflict, it's in total conflict with my family, with my emotions, and it might be hard to see it because it happens, you know, that moon of yours, it's hidden. It's in your 12th house. So it's not easy by any means. I'm not saying it's going to be easy.
No, this is going to be a real challenge for you.
Yeah, there's a testing. And anytime we start something new, there is always a testing that follows. But I want you to remember that for your long-term happiness, you finding and discovering, right? This discovery will be very exciting about this new sense of self that we talked about. Follow that. It is not wrong. Don't feel guilty, but follow it. All right? This is important. This is part of your soul's growth. It's part of what you came to do in this lifetime.
The end of June will be, we're going to see some ease, that Mercury will move forward. It will move out of Cancer. You'll get away from the motion. You'll get out of the fog of the Mercury retrograde, which always blocks our ability to think clearly.
Can I add something really
Sure.
quick just for her so that this person has some support? That squaring of that Mercury at that time around June 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, it's coming from the groups of friends. It's in your 11th house. So there may be people you know who are challenging what you're saying. They may feel like family. You consider them part of your tribe. I want you to just be aware of that and give you that heads up so that you know this is that, this is that, this is them. They're supplying the challenge. They're supplying the stress. It's not that, oh, they're bad, because this energy is going to happen no matter what.
Questioning what you're saying.
Right.
And they're going to make you question what you're thinking.
And that's okay. Remember, this is part of the process. It's needed, okay? And so we're here encouraging you to let you know this is going to occur. This is normal, but normal doesn't always feel good. Like we can all talk, like, holy shit, isn't that the truth, right? It's okay, though. This is just part of that process. So I just thought I had to say that so that this would help you to identify that when it happens. It
happens
strongly
to all of us.
Yeah, but knowing where it's, because it's about family and friends right there, that location, group energy. Can I have a
June
date
the
real quick?
28th.
Thank you.
24th through the 28th.
All right, I'll start with the 24th. Emotions are involved because this is the moon. Mars makes us very assertive and sometimes leaping before looking. All right. The good thing is that at this time, Mars won't be so agile and as fast as usual because he's in Pisces, thank God, during this moment.
Right.
Not long after this, Mars will be moving into Aries, and that's a whole different thing altogether. He becomes the sprinter. Doubt and questioning prior to Mars getting into Aries, because once Mars hits Aries, it's like...
The doubt and questioning is really going to be in June, but once we get to July, all that doubt and questioning is going to disappear because then Mars is going to hit Chiron, and then it's just going to all kind of sort of fade to the background and everything's going to be a little more clear. Okay,
so the end of June, I've got a cat who's really not happy with me because I'm not letting her bite the wires. Taffy. We spoke too soon. We said they were back to normal. Now she's like wrestling me down over here.
Goodbye.
I don't normally have to remove them. Normally just one little back off and she, comes and sit anyway. That was something.
Okay, so what we've got are some dates when communication for you could be really difficult. It could be really hot. It could be really fiery. And
could be shocking.
Not just from other people to you, but from you to other people, where you might say things that you don't realize other people might get offended. So our suggestion to you is if you have social media accounts, you might want to take a break. And it's kind of a long break from June 7th to July 1st. I know, that's 3 weeks.
So that's a hot time. That's if you're going to engage, recognize you might say something you're going to regret.
Yeah.
And likewise, the other way around. Somebody might say something to you.
Now, after July 1st, it's going to lighten up, but there's going to be another time for several days from July 23rd to July 27th where you're going to get hit again.
Okay, so there is some time where it's like a safe zone, and then it picks back up again after July 23rd.
Yep, to the 27th.
Ends on the 27th. Okay,
so
that helps.
Yep, there's going to be that.
If you don't do social media, right? I don't know if you do or don't, but this indicator is all about the 3rd house and the 11th house, right?
Yeah.
So it's communication. So whether that's talking on the phone, whether that's texting, stuff by mail, email, any ways of communication, which is newspapers, anything that's how we transfer information. All right, so it's all that. Might be shocking stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And it's going to be with
the
people. It's going to be with your friends.
Yeah.
It's going to be with your siblings. It's going to be with the people that you're close to.
Yeah, significant one-on-one relationships as well. Are in this bucket. So it's a tricky time, but having these dates should help you navigate. All right. If you can't be kind in a comment, then it's best to wait. And wait to clear the air during the date where it's not so hot, where it's not so fiery, where it's not so combative.
Right.
All right, let's move on to
August, because starting August 5th, you might have some emotional upset, but you might also have some food sensitivities. This might sound a little strange. There's going to be a time where you could be very, very sensitive to what's going on with food, So if your body is not doing well with certain foods within your diet, you might want to dial back eating something that you might be having an adverse reaction too.
Just a few days before that, the transiting Mars is in like Aries. So it's like 19, 18, 17 degrees. But when it gets to that 20-degree mark, it squares your moon, your natal moon, right? And so that's emotions also is part of this. So when we are sick, right, when our emotions get the best of us, this would be a factor. Keep your emotions in check, because it could be a contributing ingredient.
Right.
When
we get super
digestion
emotional, we might
issues.
find that we end up with an upset stomach. We might find that we end up with a migraine, which might give us an upset stomach. All of these things
are interconnected,
each other, and they're all interconnected. Stress literally is the number one killer. I know they like to say heart disease is the number one killer.
Yeah, but what causes heart disease?
What causes heart disease?
Exactly, stress. And what is stress? Well, it can be physical, chemical, mental, right? Emotional. Like, we don't get it. It's invisible.
Things.
It really is invisible.
During the first half of August, in particular, asteroid that rules food,
Ceres,
is going to be moving.
Ceres
is
Ceres.
Moving is in Pisces, which is highly sensitive. It's in the 8th house, which is highly sensitive. So be aware of that.
And then like those dates you gave, Mars will be squaring your natal Ceres, actually. You have a natal Ceres in Cancer at 28 degrees.
Yeah.
So, August 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, Mars then starts squaring that. So you're just going to be, like she said, be smart with food choices.
Because you might end up eating something and then getting upset, and then you might end up...
Who eats when they get upset?
Yeah. And then...
Where are the peanut butter cups? God damn it.
And it might end up making you sick.
I wasn't supposed to eat both bags? What are you talking?
God knows that when I get upset, I want to eat barbecued ribs, and, I'm not supposed to eat that.
All right, so we have some extended dates. So we're in August, but we kind of jumped now because there's some factors here that will be affecting your new year. Yes, 2021.
Yeah.
So this is brings us to October of 2020.
Mid-October, the 10th through the 14th.
Thank you.
And what we've got written down is believe in yourself outside of being a mom. You're going to feel a surge of emotion about trying to figure out what your role is.
Yeah, new identity outside of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is really important. This is a really important long-term goal for you to do for yourself for the rest of your life. We get so wrapped up in being the mother and being mom and always being there and always sacrificing, and we forget that we need to sacrifice for ourselves.
Yeah. I always tell people, you got to put the damn air mask on you first. It's like what the stewardess says, right?
The stewardess always says you have to
or
put
flight
the
attendant, whatever they call them now. Like,
you have to put the mask on you first, and then on the child or on the other person.
Then you can be there to enjoy and to take care of.
The setup that's coming for you in October is really going to be about you focusing on that. And we really hope that come October that you can really, after you've gone through all this other stuff, that you can really begin to recognize that.
Yeah, and it is a process. We get it. And I know that you do have support. Universal support is going to be there. It is there, and it's going to continue to be there for you.
Mm-hmm. This is going to keep coming up as a
theme for
you.
It's just going to be like, it's still here. It's still nagging. Like, come on, let's work on this.
And it's going to keep coming up until you do
here.
it. Because then in December, the theme that comes up again is embrace change. Embrace the change. Your evolution as a mom is to allow your child to evolve as an adult. You guys are so deeply bonded.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And you're so fortunate, but you have to be willing to let go enough to let your child move forward with their life. That doesn't mean that you stop being a part. That doesn't mean that you stop being there. That means that you allow them to have a life and to move forward, and then you come along behind and be a part of, but that you're not the center of. So that means that you have to have a life of your own.
Right, and I have a strong feeling there's a part inside of you, because that moon's in the 12th, so it's hidden. The 12th house can represent hidden fears. And so there's a part of you that knows this. But then there's this other part of you that's like, but I don't want to look at that right now. I don't want to think about that right now. So it almost seems as though events are going to be occurring this year in 2020 where this is going to be more not so thinking, but it'll be more apparent, more obvious because it'll start happening. And it may have already occurred. We even talked about this. There might have been a recent move where something suggested, okay, where there was a suggestion of some sort, where there's this, hey, there's this other important person in my life, and there might just, there might be this uneasiness for you, especially because you guys are so close. Just understand that there's no, okay, I'm not the number one. No, it's this, I have an additional human who's equally important to me and who I have to make at the center of my life because I want to maybe make a family with this person or some sort of a partnership, whatever that might be. But that you're always mom, never forgotten about. But having your own life, your own independence set up will help that other person do that. And so
I know that because of the similarities between the two of you, having the same rising sign, having the same moon sign, you guys are so similar that whatever new person comes into this relationship,
yeah, good point.
guys are going to get along.
Yeah, you're going to get along. You just got to give it a shot. You got to be willing. You got to be
willing
open.
to be open.
Be willing to change. Yeah, be willing to change. But I don't know if this needs to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway, that your child may need to hear these words. Need to hear like the green light.
May need, does need.
Does need to hear, I want you to go do this. I want you to go, I want you to discover you. I want you to go do these things because this closeness isn't just for you. They have that for you too. You follow? Like you both have these same spots. So they feel that closeness and it's almost like, am I betraying that person if I go do this?
Right.
Right? Am I leaving that person behind? Am I forgetting that person? So it's just a matter of being clear about, no, this isn't about that. This is just simply, we came into this lifetime recognizing we're here to support one another, but ultimately we each have to grow. Well, there's only so much growing we can do when we're constantly around the same people. We have to be challenged in some way, and it takes other souls. It takes interaction with other beings to actually grow.
And your soul growth in this lifetime is very much dependent on you growing in groups of people that are outside of that particular relationship, and very much dependent on you healing yourself. Whereas for your child, it's very much about growing within a one-on-one bonded, committed partnership relationship.
You both have two different souls growth goals, which is important to know.
But you're going to do these things.
They train each other
to help each other.
Right. So what that person does, you're going to actually in some way, it's going to add ease to your life somehow. And what you go and do is going to somehow add ease to your child's life.
Yeah. This is going to be healing for both of you. Okay.
The healing for both of you is dependent on you both going out and rediscovering your interdependent selves.
And your independent selves. We hope that this has given you some insight and some heads up and some ways of moving forward within your life. And if there's ever anything that we can do for you, please give us a heads up and let us know. It's been our honor and our privilege to look at your life.
I hope this has helped put some light on that life.
Take care.
Bye-bye.